so we're going to talk about this poll, right? This report, the survey by an institution called Gammon, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what you want to talk about today, right?
Yes.
So for people who don't know, this survey blew people's minds, right? It shocked people. It was earth-shattering, okay? And when this report came out, we did on Atheist Republic, we covered it, a whole bunch of people covered it. And people were so impressed and so shocked and so happy to know that based on the results of this survey, Iran is a Muslim minority country, right? So because this means that most Iranians have left Islam within one generation. And according to the survey, around half of Iranians have left not just Islam, religion as a whole, within the past 40 years. Half of Iranians, which is insane, if true, okay? And if you see in chart, like only 32% of Iranians identify as Shia. And if you want to consider the rest of Muslims, only 5% would be Sunni Muslim. So together with the Sufis, okay, so 3% Sufi. So if you want to add all of that together, around 40% Muslim. So less than half of Iranians are Muslim. I'm getting echo.
Yeah, that's from me, sorry.
Okay. Only half of Iranians are Muslim, which makes Iran a Muslim minority country. And a lot of people say that the reason, a lot of people say they expected this because the Iranians have become very anti-religious because of their experience with the Islamic Republic of Iran. However, a lot of people, including Ibn Qayyim, questions this survey, and he doesn't believe it, and he thinks the survey is absolute garbage. Right? Am I right? Is that correct, Ibn Qayyim?
Yeah, you're correct. Yeah, in my opinion, I'm hoping you can prove me wrong today.
Okay, so Ibn Qayyim is hoping that I could prove him wrong today, but we will review this together, and we'll see why Ibn Qayyim thinks the survey is nonsense. Okay, so Ibn Qayyim, I want you to start. This headphone is Bluetooth, so I'm going to be right back, but I'm listening to you the entire time. So start your explanation now while I'm away.
Just before you do that, can you put this one in the background and put the other one in and see if you can hear me from doing it, because I'm getting echo on this one.
Okay. There, I switched.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Oh yeah, this is better.
It's better, yeah.
I think it's a little bit better.
Okay. Wait, I'm going to come out this one. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Mike. I'm just going to make it a little bit louder.
Oh, yeah. That's much better for me. That's much better. Yeah. Okay, I'll begin.
Okay. I'll be right back. You keep speaking.
Okay. No worries. Okay, so I have two arguments which challenge the credibility of the Gammon poll. Okay, the first of those is in relation to the credibility of those who are conducting the poll, and the second is in relation to the methodology used. Okay. So let's take a look here. So who conducted the poll? Okay. So the main individual involved is an individual named Armin Maliki. He's a secular humanist like myself and Armin, and he shares the same values. However, he's not just a assistant professor in the Netherlands. He's also an activist, a secular activist. So the reason why I'm discussing the people involved in the poll is because it's in relation to the methodology they use when they conduct the two things linked together. So on his university profile, there is a link to an article which I will link in the private chat with Armin. In it, he's asked, do you see your academic work as a form of activism? Yep. Can you hear me, Armin?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Okay, and he says Wait, sorry, yeah. Listen, I'm getting feedback. This is really bad. Wait, one sec. Do you know when I unmute myself? I can hear myself in my ears. I don't know why this is happening.
Well, don't mute yourself then.
No. If I don't mute myself.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, if I don't mute you. Sorry, if I can hear the live stream, I can hear my own voice in my ears.
Well, because you have maybe YouTube open on the background.
Okay, let me close this one second.
If you close YouTube.
I'm gonna. Okay. Right, I've done it. Oh, it's working. Oh no, I can still hear feedback. Wait, one second.
So the guy that you're talking about is Dr. Ammar Maliki?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay. So.
Yeah,
I can read his bio.
Yeah. So whenever I talk, I can hear myself. Honestly, this is impossible. Wait, I'm just going to take...
All right. While you figure that out, I'm just going to read the man's bio. Okay, so this is a doctor, assistant professor. Okay, so he's both doctor and assistant professor. So he has a PhD, but he also is like one level below a full professor. Okay, so very educated.
Is that any better?
Oh,
I think. Yeah.
Wait. I know. Okay, so people are saying it's echoing for them as well. Here, I know what to do. Now speak. I think I fixed it. Say something.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Yeah, that's better. Yeah. Let me put my headphones back in. 1 second.
All right. Thank you, Puya, for saying that. What Puya told me made me be able to fix it. All right.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Anyway,
now.
So
that was killing my ears. Man. I swear down.
All right. Okay. Because I was sharing the screen. It was my fault. I was sharing the screen with audio. I should have just removed the audio. So
okay.
Yeah, Puya is saying perfect. Okay.
So this guy's an assistant professor, like you said. Yeah. So I'm gonna link you to an article in which he says he's asked a question. Do you see your academic work as a form of activism? And he responds saying academia and activism are the same. Okay. And I'm going to link that in the chat.
That's not very damning because activism is raising awareness. So academia, just raising people, just informing people is a form of activism, even if it's unbiased.
But being an activist for a particular idea shows that there may be some bias in your work if it's not checked. Maybe.
But that quote itself is not very telling because you could be completely objective, completely unbiased in your educational material, and even if you're unbiased and objective, that is still a form of activism if you believe that more awareness is good for the planet, even if it's objective.
I agree. Yes. Okay, I'm gonna with regards to his research abilities, etc. He has only published one peer-reviewed paper over the past 6 years, since 2016. I'm going to link his peer-reviewed work, all of his work here, and you can see in that link what the peer-reviewed work is. And since 2016, he's done he's published just a single peer-reviewed article.
Yeah. Okay. So that means. Okay. So, I mean, I know a lot of. So the interesting thing is that this is a survey. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of surveys are not really good. Surveys are done by survey specialists that have zero peer-reviewed published academic research. Right. This is two different worlds. Right. One world is the research world. And another world is the survey world, right? Like, just because you conduct a good survey, it doesn't mean that you have published a peer-reviewed academic research. But for example, there are world-renowned like peer surveys out there that people rely on that are not peer-reviewed academic research. Those are two different fields.
I agree. I agree with that.
to me, this seems like a bonus to to the fact that this is a man that, in addition to conducting surveys, has under his belt a peer-reviewed academic research, means that, this is a guy that is recognized in academia. That means that, other academics have reviewed his work and put a stamp of approval on this guy's expertise. So having one of that itself shows that this guy is not just some random dude. Like, he does science.
But what it does, Armin, is it calls into question as to why he didn't publish or why he didn't conduct this poll through the university, and he's decided to start his own organization with another secular liberal activist. And so it does call into
because
question.
of money. Because if through university you wouldn't be able to independently go and
you can obtain funding. You can apply for funding. But let's see who he got the funding from as well. Okay.
But let me first read his bio. Okay, I might have his bio on the screen. It says my research experience, and this is his bio on Tilburg University, which I believe is a university in
Holland, Netherlands.
Netherlands. Okay. It says so. Okay, so this guy is an academic, and we agree with that, right?
Yeah, in the same way as Mohammed Hijab is. Yeah, I agree.
Oh, come on! Are you serious?
Mohammed Hijab is he's a PhD candidate right now. After he completes that, which will be over the next year, he can apply for assistant professorship in any university within the UK, and he can do this, and he can publish the same report, and he can get the opposite results. And I'll explain to you why it's important discussing the people involved when it comes to the methodology, because it's the methodology itself which is...
I will tell you, I would say, as much as I don't agree with Mohammed Hijab, if Mohammed Hijab ever puts out a publication which is peer-reviewed and accepted, okay, I will take his work seriously.
The publication you might take seriously, that was peer-reviewed, but that doesn't mean you take any of his other work seriously.
No, in my mind, no, not all, but in my mind, he's a person that is aware of the standards. Like, he is from that world now. Even if he wasn't before, he is now. He understands the criteria. He understands how to do science. He's that. He
might understand how to do science, but it might even help him to manipulate the results and to try and make it look credible.
I agree. Yeah. No, I completely agree. There's might. Okay, completely agree. Right? The might. Okay.
Might.
But again,
agreed.
I agree with might. Okay, but I'm just saying. But I would also respect him as somebody that is aware and knows how to of the scientific method and is experienced in doing so. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I agree.
Also, and also when it comes to motivations, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would apply Occam's razor, right? I would say motivation. I would assume most people's motivations are in line with their own self-interest.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And self-interest will dictate you doing good work and not making mistakes. Because if you are found...
I mean, not if your activism comes before your credibility as a professor.
Yeah,
it depends.
Yeah, I'm saying you both are possible, okay? There are people who are so into changing the world that they would take a hit for it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I just have a hard time believing that somebody would what you're describing is fraud. Okay? I would have a hard time believing that somebody would commit fraud, putting his entire academic career at risk, his entire reputation at risk, for the sake of creating a poll that shows Iran is less religious than people assume.
I'm not saying. Hold on. I'm not saying he committed fraud. I'm saying the way he conducted the sampling.
This would be fraud.
No, it would not be fraud. The way he's conducted the sampling, right, is directed so he gets a certain result, right? But it's not easy to see on the face of it. You have to dig a bit deeper in order to extrapolate what he's basically attempting to do here, right? Okay, but you agree he's an activist. You agree he's an activist, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, who isn't?
Yeah, but there are many academics who are not public activists. They don't put on their Twitter threads, denouncing a particular regime, etc., etc.
Do you know like university professor that doesn't take a stance, for example, on LGBT, for example, like they have the LGBT pin, or anti-it or pro-it. They're like, everybody is an activist in something.
But they might not be doing research in that particular field. He's doing research focusing on Iran, and he speaks about that particular topic. So,
if that's the case, okay, why in his one of his other polls he has the support here? Look at this. Let me show you. If he's trying to manipulate information in a way that makes secularists. So for a very long time, we all assumed that the Islamic Republic of Iran, right, the regime, has less than 5% support. Like, you would be in the Iranian community, you would be mocked if you said let me finish this, okay? Between, like, people would say, oh, less than 1%, like, not even, maybe just the people at the top only, okay? People like, oh no, like, just a handful, and the rest of them are just like, everybody else is just getting paid, and nobody supports the Islamic Republic, okay? But this man's poll shows that 22% of Iranians support the Islamic Republic, okay? So,
wow, 22%.
That's huge.
That's tiny. 22% compared to I would think it would be more than that. Listen.
Clueless. You are clueless. This is way higher. This is.
Wait, 1 second.
He was.
Wait.
Okay, so let me just tell you this. These people are getting attacked by Iranians from the other side. They think that these posters are on the side of the regime. They would think that nobody in their right mind would imagine that the Islamic Republic has 22% support. Like, the accusation that you're making against this person in Iran, they're making it the other way. They're saying these people are pro-Islamic Republic, and they're fooling us with these survey results. That's the accusation.
In Iran, the people that listen to you, in Iran, the people that are kind of in your circle, you're not talking. You might not be talking about the ordinary Iranian. Do you understand? You might be talking about Iranian people in your circle that are saying this, right? Do you understand?
No, Ibn Khan. I follow everybody. Okay, I follow my opposition as well. Okay, my opposition, my pro-regime opposition, they also think that they have lost the popular narrative, the crowds. They don't assume that most Iranians are pro-Islamic Republic. They do not think that. Even a pro-regime.
I don't think this particular poll proves anything as to.
I'm not saying it proves anything. I am a skeptic here. Okay, I'm not saying it proves. This doesn't prove that, and what you're saying doesn't prove anything. In the words of possibilities, of course, what you're saying is possible. Okay, I'm not interested in what's possible. I'm interested in what's probable. Do you have anything that shows what you're claiming is probable?
Yeah, I'm gonna go through it with you. Okay, so my next thing is.
We never read the bio. Let me actually read his bio.
Oh.
But Dr. Dr. Amar Maliki is saying, my research expertise and interests are in two different disciplines: cross-cultural differences and democratization. I think we should invite him on the show maybe one day. I am interested to examine the relation and interaction between societal culture and institutional settings of democracy. The cultural compatibility thesis of democracy developed in my PhD dissertation posits that societal cultural matters in the process of adopting, and adapting political institutions of democracy. The thesis suggests that the mentality of adopting the best model of democracy should be replaced with the attitude of finding the most compatible model. I am also a pro-democracy activist. Oh, so this is in his bio. And by the way, if this guy was trying to do a sneaky on us, why is he putting this in his bio? Okay, so I'm saying I am also a pro-democracy activist and political analyst of Iranian politics. See my interview with this University magazine. I am the director of Gaman, the group for analyzing and measuring attitudes in Iran research foundation, appearing in media and using. Okay, so here's the thing. This guy is the founder of an institution that is supposed to do survey. Okay, it seems like this is the focus of his career. He would be ruined, like his entire success in his life depends on him getting things right. Do you know what I mean? Like the food that he feeds his children, the roof that is on top of his family's, covers his family, the education that his children will have in the future, the trips that he's going to go to with his wife, maybe his husband, I don't know. Okay, the trips that he takes with his, loved
He's got a wife.
Okay,
he's got a wife.
With his wife. Okay, all of this, everything and he looks not that very old. Okay, so he has years of his life to look forward to, and it all depends on the credibility of the surveying institution that he has founded. And you think that he's going to throw all of that in the toilet by messing with the data? That's what you're claiming.
No, I'll explain later with regards to the data that he's published. But what I want to say is, do you agree that both of these two people, Amr Maliki and Pouyan Tamimi Arab, are both secular liberal activists who are against the Iranian regime? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, who isn't? But okay, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this study, it says on the next page, was financially supported by and carried out in cooperation with Dr. Ladan Boromand, co-founder and senior fellow of the Abdurrahman Boromand Center for Human Rights in Iran. And it says, we express our sincere gratitude to her and all the volunteers who, in one way or another, assisted. Yeah, I'll send you the link. So it's on the second page. So if you go one page down, next page.
Oh,
there. Yeah, it says it there. And I'm going to link you to their website, to the Abdurrahman Boromand website. Where is it? There it is. And you can see this is an activist website. So everyone involved in this is an activist against the Iranian regime.
Okay. The sponsors of most surveys are.
No, most sponsors the majority of research in Europe. Surveys. Yeah, the majority of research conducted in Europe is sponsored by governments. So it's government.
Okay, so for example, in the United States, one of the best surveys are done by Fox, right? By Fox News.
Yeah.
Okay. Even though the funding of these surveys are done by a right-leaning media outlet, okay, and they are absolutely biased.
I don't know how good Fox News. I don't know how good their surveys are.
No, they're very good. They're very respected because they're funded by a right-leaning media outlet, okay. But the surveys, the methodology has received a stamp of approval by all the experts.
Are the surveys online surveys with Fox News?
Online surveys have been proven to be there are studies done on the reliability of online surveys.
I've got a Pew Research article regarding online surveys and how they are not the best.
I've seen. I mean, I have to go look. I've seen studies, peer-reviewed studies, that shows that online surveys are as reliable as phone calls and door-to-door surveys.
I'm going to link the Pew Research article in the chat.
That's what I've seen. Have you found? Hold on, let me see. Let's look at this. All right. How accurate are online polls? How statistically accurate is an online poll? In which part? This was 20. Don't you have something more recent? This is 10 years ago.
It's still on their website, so I'm still. It's probably Yeah.
How statistically accurate is an online poll in which participants sign on to contribute their opinions? Would it be possible to get statistically accurate opinions about what the average American wants their taxes to go through on an online poll that allows the participants to indicate what percentage of his or her taxes will go for each of a number of purposes? The accuracy of a poll depends on how it was conducted. Most of Pew Research polling is done by telephone, but contrast most online polls that use participants. But okay, by the way, there is a methodology introduced by Pew for online polls, and I think Gammon uses that specific methodology suggested by Pew. Is that correct?
No, I don't think that's correct. I've gone through the methodology that they've used, and they do weighting and refining and whatnot. They do all of that, but they don't
look,
go
I was
into
right.
detail.
No, look, I was right. No, look, it was right here, as suggested by Pew. Oh no, for the balancing and weighing method, they use a Pew methodology.
I've got the link to that as well, and in that link, it actually says that weighting cannot. It can only reduce the bias by only 30% at maximum, in terms of. Yeah, but yeah, we'll move on to that later. Yeah.
Okay. By contrast, most online polls that use participants who volunteer to take part do not have a proven record of accuracy. Okay, these are proven record of accuracy 10 years ago. 10 years, I need something more recent.
Yeah, but this article, they say, is up to date. If it wasn't up to date, it wouldn't be on their website. If they had something more, if they had something new to update it with.
It's claiming that they have no proven record of accuracy up until 2010. Hold on, let me search. Let me see.
Has something changed in the past 12 years?
Yeah, well, 12 years gives you a lot of data, right? So, but when you say they don't have a proven record of accuracy, that doesn't mean they're not accurate. That means that they don't have a proven record of accuracy.
Yeah, they don't have a proven record of accuracy. So there's no record to prove that they're accurate. Yeah.
Okay, here I found something.
Armin, do you know before I came onto this live stream this morning, I watched the video when you actually reviewed it 2 years ago. Do you know a couple of years ago and I was reluctant to come on here because you were so passionate and so happy about the results, etc.
Hey,
and I didn't want to dampen.
Was so happy. I was so happy, and was I not careful even back then? Even though I was excited, to be skeptical, wasn't I?
You were skeptical to an extent, but not about the people that conducted it and the methodology they used. I don't think you were skeptical about
no. That. I remember mentioning that if this is true.
You did. You did.
And I said specifically, be careful, everybody. I said be careful because
you did.
This is such a good news that it will make us not skeptical. But you have to always remember, or what did I do? You have to always remember that just because this is good news, that we can't just believe it 100%, right?
By the way, I agree. And by the way, I hope you prove me wrong today because I want this to be true as well. So I hope you bring me something that can prove
No.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I might agree with you. Okay, because here, look, I found something more recent, and it's basically not in my favor. Okay, this is 2020. Assessing the risk to online polls from bogus respondents. Approval ratings can be influenced several percentage points by bogus seekers of opt-in polls. Okay, so this is better. This is 2020. More than 80% of the public polls used to track by key indicators of U.S. public opinion, such as president's approval ratings or support for Democratic presidential candidates, are conducted using online opt-in pollings. A new study by Pew Research Center finds that online polls conducted with widely used opt-in sources contain small but measurable shares of bogus respondents, about 4 to 7%, depending on the source. Critically, these bogus respondents are not just answering at random, but rather they tend to select positive answer choices, introducing a small, systematic systematic bias into estimates like presidential approval. This pattern, see, like I'm not denying what you're saying. I'm looking for more recent information. This is like only 2 years ago. Okay, this pattern is not partisan. Well, so this is like more U.S. related. While some challenges to polls are ever present, e.g., respondents not answering carefully or giving socially desirable answers, the risk that bad actors could compromise a public opinion poll is, in some respect, a new one. It is a consequence of the field's migration towards online convenience samples of people who sign themselves up to get money or other rewards by taking surveys. Just another thing, Ibn Qayyim. This also shows that online polls are widely used. Like this is within the world of surveys and surveys that are respected. You know, this is not something that is like not common. You know what I mean? So as problematic as they are, it is something that is widely used within the surveying industry. You agree?
I agree with that. And if the methodology is properly laid out and it's detailed as to how they conducted the online poll, then I'm fine with it, right? However, as we will see in this one, it doesn't go into that much detail in the appendix in terms of the methodology. If you compare it to someone like Pew or one of the other major polling organizations.
Your voice is cracking. I don't know why. But let me read this part. Yeah, a little bit. But let me read this part. The study finds that not all online polls suffer from this problem. Online polls that recruit participants offline through random sampling of residential addresses have only trace level of bogus respondents, like 1%. In address recruited panels, there are too few bogus cases to have a perceptible effect on the SMS. Okay, so the Gammon one was not address recruited.
It wasn't random sampling either.
Yeah. Okay, so this suggests that there would be a bias. There would be a systematic bias. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it would be okay. So yeah.
Can you hear me clearly now? Am I clear now?
You're clear, but cracking for some reason. I don't know.
Right. Let me take out my head.
Yeah. Let's look at the methodology.
Can you hear me any better now?
Yes, better. No cracking.
Better, yeah. Perfect. Okay. No worries. Okay, so the methodology. Okay. So they use something called a multiple chain referral sampling. This is on page 3. Page 3.
Well, actually, do you want to read the entire? I want to read the entire thing. Is that okay?
No, it's section 1. You're on the wrong page. If you go to page 3, and then we can go down to that later on. If you go to page 3. Okay. So if you look at the second paragraph, it says the sampling methods were multiple chain referral sampling, or basically snowball. It's the second paragraph.
This study finding this. Okay. The results can be generalized to.
You need to go for Armin, page 3.
This is.
If you go down, that's not a page. That second one's not considered a page. So if you go down, that's page 1, 2, and then 3 there. The second paragraph. Page 3.
The sampling methods were multiple chain referral sampling or multiple virtual snowball sampling through social media, Telegram, Instagram, WhatsApp, Twitter, and Facebook. More than 50,000 respondents living inside and outside Iran participated in the study. 50,000, that's a huge number. So you agree that sample size is pretty good. You agree with that?
100%. Sample size is massive. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Okay.
And they refined that sample size as well. So I think overall it was 39,000 and something people once they've got rid of the the bots, etc. That this
So they got this was through a very recognized methodology within the survey standards, right? They got rid of all the samples that didn't meet the criteria, right? So they have they were left with a much smaller percentage at the end, but it was still a big number. Yeah. Okay.
The problem is one of the issues here is snowball sampling. Yeah.
That's the sampling method they use. So the disadvantages of snowball sampling, one of the main ones is community bias. Okay, so the first participants will have a strong impact on the sample. So they choose the first participants. Okay, so it could be, for example, in his Twitter feed, they don't actually tell you in any of this how they found their first recruits. They don't. This is something they should have laid out within the methodology. How did they recruit the
I
first
understand.
people?
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. But you know that fixes itself when they weigh it using census data.
Yeah, no, it doesn't fix it completely. I'll explain to you
I know it
why.
doesn't. I know it doesn't fix it completely, but it addresses it. So first of all, here's the thing: these methods that you're mentioning, okay, every single method in survey when it comes to surveys has flaws, and it's going to cause some problems with the data. Okay, but the fact that with its flaws they're still used, okay, it means that there are bonuses, like there are benefits to them as well, and you use each with every survey, like you could use different methodology, okay, and every methodology is going to have its flaws and its benefits, and given the data you're working with, you have to weigh in how much of a you know
Bias.
how
Yeah.
big of a problem of the methodology you're willing to live with, given the benefits, given the type of data that you're working with. You know what I mean?
Do you know how you
And
can do that? Do you know how you can do that though? If they actually tell you how they chose the initial people who they sampled from the snowball, right? They don't tell you in any of this how they chose those. They just say it's social media and that it's varied, but they don't tell you which particular groups of people they targeted, which websites or which on Twitter pages, like what Twitter pages they think. See, a Pew would lay this all out in their methodology, right? They haven't put any of this. They've just said, or through social media, Telegram, Instagram, WhatsApp, Twitter, Facebook. They don't actually tell you which Facebook pages they went to. They don't tell you which Twitter page they went to. So they could have chosen anyone. Do you understand? So they could have chosen people who have values that are in line with their own,
yeah,
rather than this is
yeah,
problematic if you don't lay it
yeah,
out. Yeah.
it could, but okay, but given okay, first of all, do you know how they try to, like, okay, first of all, with whatever method they use, okay,
Mhm.
given that they're on Telegram, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Twitter and Facebook, okay, they are going to, these are areas where more secularist, more anti-regime people are already active there, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
even without knowing the methodology, I could tell you that the first people will be people in our camp, okay? Wherever they share this, they will have that problem. They will have that problem, okay? Because pro-regime people are mostly active in different places. Not these are not, there are other places that they're more active in, right? Especially given that these are Instagram is like where haramis go, right? So,
Yeah.
but but the reason why they know that
Yeah,
this
they
is
do.
have a
They do. Yeah, they put
right.
that down. They've actually wrote about that.
What?
Yeah. Gaman actually acknowledges the network effect. So they actually, so this is in
Yes.
your favor. So they admit the survey is more likely to reach respondents who hold beliefs similar to those held by the
Yes.
organizers, as well as
Okay. So
self-select.
good. So
Yeah,
they're transparent about that, right?
yeah, they're transparent about that. Yeah, that's right. So,
So
so, so,
you
yeah,
know, yeah. Go on.
so
You know
they
how
need
to
to
fix it,
obviously this needs to be put in, obviously, to have it be a credible survey, etc. Right? They need to put
yes.
this in, but what they should have put
Every
in.
survey every
Yeah,
survey mentions that every survey mentions its limitations. But you're saying that they should have mentioned how it started, right? But
yeah.
I'm saying
Who
given
did
that
which pages did they choose? Yeah, which pages
I'm
did they choose to
I'm saying
select first?
I'm saying that given that no matter where they started, that huge bias towards anti-regime or pro-secularism would have been there. This wouldn't
Yes.
have made much of a difference because, like, it doesn't really matter where on these social media outlets they started. Wherever they have started, the initial ones would have probably been pro-secularism and anti-regime. So it wouldn't have mattered where they did this. These are places where it's dominant. These are areas where it's dominated by anti-regime pro-secularists, right? But I'm saying the way there's no other way to reach people other than these popular social media outlets. So the way you fix that is by weighing the results, by changing the zarif, what is it called, the multiplier, right? At the end on. So basically, you take your data, and this is why you ask people for their age, their education, their location, right, and a whole bunch of other variables, and then you go and look at census data, and then you try to adjust the data that you collected that was not random. Your data collection was not randomized, but you try to randomize it by increasing or decreasing how much each one of these different groups in your sample, by changing it to match the census data, and that's how they adjust for it. Does that make sense?
And then and he provides a link for that as well. So he provides a link to a Pew Research website which discusses the weighting and balancing methods they use. And in that Pew Research website that they link to, they say, it says, and I quote, even the most effective adjustment procedures weren't unable to remove most of the bias. The key word there being most. So the study tested.
Wait, is this a link?
Yeah, that's the link. Yeah, click on that. Yeah. So if you go down a bit, say among key findings. If you keep going down slightly there. Can you see among key findings? Is that what it says?
Yeah, among key findings, yes.
Yeah, and if you want to read that, if you want to read that to the audience.
Even the most effective adjustment procedures were unable to remove most of the bias. The study tested a variety of elaborate weighing adjustments on online opt-in surveys with the sample sizes as large as 8,000 interviews. Across all of these scenarios, none of the evaluated procedures reduced the average estimated bias across 24 benchmarks below 6 percentage points, down from 8.4 points unweighted. This means that even the most effective adjustment strategy was only able to remove about 30%. Yeah, if this means what I think it means, then yeah, you're right.
Yeah, see, this is why I think it could be problematic. And to be honest, I don't think I need to say much more than that, to be honest.
But this is much a bit okay. If I'm understanding this correctly, because I would have to read this entire article, okay? Because maybe I'm reading it out of context, right? But if this is what I think it is, okay, which if you want, we could read the whole thing, okay? Then you didn't have to go through trying to guess the intentions of this of the people. You know what I mean? I think that's a lot weaker criticism than this. This is a strong criticism if we are interpreting this right.
Do you know why I decided to go down that line to begin with? Was because they use snowball sampling methodology. The initial people that they're going to choose might be in line with their values, etc., viewpoints, etc. I didn't take into account the fact that most Iranians online on these platforms were anti-regime activists. That's something you mentioned to me later on, didn't you? I assumed that they would have chosen those people to begin with because those are the people that are going to be most closely associated with them. They might be their followers, etc. And snowball sampling is it takes a very long time to get back all these results, etc. So they could have, the easiest way to do it would just be to go to your followers, right, and say, here's the survey, pass it on. And then they could get all that and then weight it. They could still weight it, but it would still be a biased result because the weighting doesn't remove all of the bias, even if it's the most effective.
Does this article provide a solution?
It's a long article. I haven't read the whole thing.
Okay, so maybe you should read the whole thing because it doesn't seem like it's an article that is throwing weighing online opt-in samples. I don't think it's an article that is throwing it under the bus. It might be an article that says let's read the rest. When it comes to accuracy, choosing the right variables for weighing is more important than choosing the right statistical method. Choosing the right variables for, okay. So let me go through the list. The benefits of adding political variables to adjustment differ by survey topic. Okay. The most basic weighing method, raking, performs nearly as well as more elaborate techniques based on matching.
Yeah, I
Okay,
mean they use raking. They actually use raking as part of the survey. They actually use the raking method.
Okay, here's a point in your favor. Okay, very large sample sizes do not fix the shortcomings of online opt-in samples. Okay, so the fact that the survey had huge numbers doesn't help. Adjusting on political variables, not just demographics, made key public opinion estimates more Republican. Okay, so that's not good. Is there a fun? The weighing procedures tested in this report represent only a small fraction of the many possible approaches to weighing up things. Okay, we need to read this entire thing, because I would be shocked if this is an article by Pew saying that just throw away the idea of opt-in opinion polls because weighing just doesn't work.
It's not saying throw it away, but it's just mentioning that even when you apply weighting, it still doesn't resolve the majority of the bias involved in the actual survey. So only the maximum it can remove is 30%. That's the maximum. So I'm not assuming we can't assume that this is the maximum amount of bias this is removed. So maybe it's 20%, maybe it's 25% of the bias. But
okay, well, what is it suggesting as a solution if it's not throwing it out?
Well, is there a solution on there? I don't think there is.
There should be, because the problem.
There's 8 pages to this. Yeah.
What?
If you look at the bottom, there's 7 more pages to this.
Oh my God!
I don't think we're going to be going through that this stream.
Is it a conclusion part?
Let's go to page 8. I'll go to page 8 and see if anything.
Okay, these are appendixes. This is appendix C. God damn it! Just tell us a yes or no. Why do these academics just don't give us the answers to things? Nothing. Okay, acknowledgement.
I mean, one thing I want to ask is, okay, so why do you take this particular survey over what Pew or Gallup have provided in the past? Is there any particular reason why?
Because those were self-identifying as Muslim, right? That was not like whether you're not believe. I don't know what was the. First of all, how old was that? That wasn't that years ago?
Yeah, something like that, about 9-10 years ago. Yeah.
Okay, so
but it compared, for example, I think the Gallup poll compared 2006 to 2012. They found that Iranians in that period were more religious. They supported more in terms of implementing Sharia within the law. So within 6 years. So it looks like that there's a like an incline as to religiosity, and then all of a sudden with this poll, it's like 37% Muslim, and then the rest like it's just kind of.
First of all, it's 20 years ago. Second of all, the questions were different.
Yeah, I agree. The questions were slightly different, but if people support some form of Sharia within the law, I'm guessing those people are Muslims, right?
No, not necessarily. Like, for example, and also there's a whole bunch of people who, like, I don't know, would say like, do you believe in afterlife? And they say like, no. And do you believe in Allah? Oh, they say no. And like, are you a Muslim? They're like, say yes. Like, I mean, it really depends on how you frame the question as well. So I don't know. But I think I did a very good job at being excited but skeptical at the same time. I don't think I did I mean, how could I not be excited about half of Iranians leaving Islam?
I completely agree. I completely
like. Do you
completely agree?
But I think I had a very proper response. Excited but skeptical. Both
100%.
of them. Right. I have to be excited about a mere suggestion that half of Iranians left Islam. I have to be excited about that, and yet skeptical. I think that's a really good combination. Every time. And
my critique is not of your response. My critique is not of your response. I think the response was very good. I think
a little bit the way you responded to me. I think, our first communication we had online, you were a bit heated, a little bit angry at
Right.
me, and
Well, okay, so
yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, okay? When you were anti this survey at the beginning, right? Because you said this is you were not skeptical. You came off to me, across to me as sure that this survey is garbage, okay? And at that time, when you had that view, did you do all this research that you have right now, or did you do it after?
I did about 20%. I had done about 20% of
So
what I
my reaction to you was proper, okay? Because
Your
unlike
skepticism was better than mine. Your reaction to this report was better than my reaction. Okay,
yeah, no,
I
no,
agree with that.
because
Our initial reactions.
because if what you were telling me was like, I don't know, Armin, I'm skeptical, I would have been like, skeptical is good. You were not skeptical. You were sure that this is garbage, and you haven't done it. You have only done 20% of the research that you have done right now. So that was not the proper position for you to have.
Do you know what? I mean, I was angry at you for something you'd done previously, right? Do you know, with the Israel-Palestine? And I wanted to have a go at you. I sometimes get really angry, and I just, yeah. Sometimes I do it in chat. I relieve the stress in chat, But no, honestly, do you know? I think. Would you say you're more skeptical now about it than you were
Very,
at the
no,
beginning?
a lot more skeptical. I am a lot more skeptical about it. A lot more skeptical about it.
Do you know what would alleviate my skepticism? Right,
What?
if they actually listed in here, which some of the other polling agencies do, what where did the original cohorts come from? If they did that, that would alleviate some. It would still not completely alleviate the bias, because obviously you can only alleviate 30% of the bias, but at least it would give us an idea as to where those original people they brought along came from, because they don't actually tell you which pages, Facebook pages or Twitter pages, etc., that they obtained those original samples from on this report.
Okay, I really don't. By the way, I'm still skeptical about whether this. I'm not I am very skeptical. I'm not saying the survey is wrong, because I don't know if me and do you have any background in statistics and surveys?
No, I've just got a law degree, so I
Okay,
don't know
so
anything about it.
my problem is that we might be completely misunderstanding what this Pew article is saying. Okay, so I mean, what you're raising is important. I just want somebody. I want to talk to an expert about this. You know what I mean?
We need to try and find someone who hasn't got any skin in the game, right? Who isn't like a
And we need to
Iranian
talk. And we need to,
anti.
yes, yeah, and also we need to talk about the people who have skin in this game. Like, I want to see if I could reach out to them, because they did talk to us before.
Did they?
Right? I mean, they left a comment. They came and left comments on our videos and stuff. So
By the way, I like his work. I'm a big fan of the Doctor. I think he's a great activist for secularism. I think he promotes democratic principles. So I support him 100% on that. I have an issue with regards to the accuracy of this particular. And the reason why I bring this up, Armin, is because when we're making prescriptive claims with regards to the Iranian people, if we want what's best for them, we need to understand or have a good understanding as to what they believe. Because if, for example, only 37% of them are Muslims, right, then you could make a strong argument for basically helping to overthrow or intervention within Iran to stop what the Iranian regime is currently doing. I mean, you could make arguments even if it wasn't the case, but it would be a stronger argument, right? It would be less likely for there to be chaos in Iran if you were to intervene, remove the regime, etc. Whereas if the Muslim population is 90%, 95%, and a significant proportion support the regime, then the result of overthrowing the regime would be completely different, right? So that's why I think it's really important that we get the most accurate figures possible when
look. If you keep reading, it tells you what to do. It keeps giving you all these suggestions on what to do to, so what the part that we read tells you that what didn't fix the bias, okay? But if you keep reading, it tells you the methodology and the things that you need to do that, addresses all those biases. And we don't know, like, I mean, do we know that they didn't use this methodology? Like, in addition to, we just read the only part, like, oh, this doesn't fix it, but then it continues, but this does. And I feel like we're missing the part that, well, this does. And I think that the Gammon people, given that they link to this, they're probably aware of the methodology that fixes those biases. Look, there's like on page, if you look at page 3, it goes through all these different methodology that addresses what to do. Like it's like you're saying they did raking. It's like, well, you do have to do raking in addition to all those other things together to
but
reduce
Armin,
the bias.
the question is, does that take you up to that original 30% bias? Do you know, reduction of bias?
Well, I don't know. But I don't know because the part that you read told you what does it. Okay. But then if you continue reading, maybe you get to what does.
The question that I have is, maybe that original, the one that said it can only do up to 30%, maybe that's the conclusion, because it says among the key findings, and then this tells you how to get to that stage to get the 30% reduction. Do you understand?
Yeah. So maybe we should do more reading. Yeah. So because the part that you said was like, look, reducing bias on benchmarks, choice of variables for weighing is more consequential than statistical method. Matching on its own can improve raking, but only modestly and with large samples. Okay, I don't know. Like, see, like we don't understand this because earlier it was saying large samples don't matter. Here it says it works only on large samples. So we don't understand what we're reading. This is not. We can't just because this is not our field. We can't just read the headlines and feel like, oh, we got it. This study is bullcrap. You know what I mean? We need an expert to tell us what this means.
I think. Do you know the first page of it? Do you know what that is? That's the summary of the findings that they found in the other 7 pages.
But I think
you don't need to read the 7 pages if you've got the summary in the first page. You understand? That looks like it's the summary of the rest of the 7 pages.
We're able to remove most of the bias. Study tested variety of elaborate this one.
So that's describing this particular study, isn't it?
Yeah. You're right.
So we don't need to read the other 7 pages if you've got the summary in the
you're right. But I am a lot more skeptical. I would just need somebody who understands these more to tell us what we think. I mean, here's somebody who must understand these things more than us. The doctor who conducted the survey. Like, are they so ignorant?
But he might be biased, Armin. He might be biased. You see.
Okay, but if you're
biased,
are you so dumb to hide your bias? Like, how could okay? So look at the conspiracy that we're suggesting here. Okay, we're suggesting that the man is so biased that even though he is academic and he understands the science of taking surveys, okay, he has linked to an article within his own study showing how everything he has done is completely wrong, and he's just hoping that nobody will notice.
But do you know? I don't think he thought that. I don't know. Listen, I like the guy. I've listened to him online. He's a very intelligent guy. Listen, he's smarter than I am. I give him that. But I think, like, why did he do it through the university? Why did he have to set up his own institute where we know he has a bias? We know the other guy has a bias. We know the funders have a bias, and it's just not something I can. I'm skeptical, Armin. I'm skeptical.
Okay. Well, you're right to be skeptical. You're right to be skeptical.
I shouldn't have denounced it. I shouldn't have denounced it like I did. I was wrong to do that. I apologize. I shouldn't have just come out there and just said this is nonsense, and I was wrong to do that.
Yeah, but you are right to be more skeptical than I was, and now I am joining you in being more skeptical. So thank you for that. Puya in the live chat is saying he's active on Clubhouse as well. So that's good because I am recently more active on Clubhouse. I'm going to try to reach out to him. Do you want to maybe suggest email me some suggested questions?
Yeah. I'll email you. Yeah. and then maybe you can bring him on the live stream, and you two can have a chat, and maybe you can clear up some of the things if he wants to, or you can just have a private chat with him, whatever works. Yeah.
I might bring him on the Persian show, so I might be in Persian.
Okay. Yeah, you need a translator for that show because I'd love to watch that, and I just can't understand a word said. Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'll bring him on the Persian show, and then I'll ask him if he would be interested in doing it in English as well. But that would be a show just for, you know how many people are interested in this? Like, I'm doing you a major favor. Nobody cares about what we're talking about.
Hey, Armin, listen, do you know today I subbed to the £5 one, so I'm paying you £5 a month on this. So you know, you got me on the. Yeah, I think in the UK they charge a bit more than the US. But yeah, no, it's a pleasure because the work you do, Armin, honestly, like, out of all the people online currently, I think in the ex-Muslim movement, I think the work you do is the most valuable, in my opinion, by far. I would say you and who's the Persian one in the UK? What's it? Your mentor,
Mariam Namazi.
Mariam Namazi, yes. Her and you, I would say, in my opinion, the work you guys have done for us. I mean, I've been an ex-Muslim for about 15 years now, and I consider you a hero. Honestly, I consider you a hero of mine, and I look up to you. And you know, you're the one that kind of helped push me to kind of. I used to debate Muslims online back like about 2 years ago. You know, there used to be Speakers Corner related people, and there's one story. One of them actually attempted to join ISIS. Do you know one of the people that I used to debate? And he got caught. It was an American. He was from America, and it was a sting operation by the FBI, and he ended up getting caught. So, so crazy people I used to debate back in the day. But I was inspired by. Yeah, I
appreciate that, but I do think that you're misrepresenting Harris Sultan. I think, but we could talk about that another time.
Okay. Do you know what? I need to sign up to their bloody. In order for me to get their the whole thingy, I need to sign up. I have to pay more money out. I'm going to be broke by the end of the year if I'm not careful. Okay, but no, thank you for having me on the show, Armin. I'll let you wrap up and do what you need to do. But it's always a pleasure talking with you, man. I just wondering, is that debate still on for the 22nd, or is that?
Well, I mean, the Hindutva oxymoron guy, he responded. He said he can't make it, and he suggested other time. Did you not see his email? He just
did he send it today?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm going to respond to it. He gave us some options. Yeah,
okay,
I'm going to respond. Okay,
cool. No worries, my man.
All right,
thank you much.
All right,
thank you.
All right, talk to you later. If you'd like to send me your questions for me to answer during our Q&As, become a patron. If you would like to have a discussion with me live on air at the end of the Q&As, become a YouTube member. Link to both is in the description. Thank you for your support.